I think just overall maturity and commitment to the things that we're asking of them. I mean, we have a veteran group, and they understand the challenges that each different game sort of presents, and they've done a really good job of buying into those details and bringing the level of effort that we need to be successful and playing unselfishly, and it's translated into some solid success.
One of the things we've noticed from the broadcast is just it doesn't really matter what the score is. The levels there and the intensity. I don't just mean from an effort standpoint, but there's times where the guys may feel a call didn't go their way, and it almost, you imagine if you didn't see the score, it's a tight ball game and every possession matters. You've talked a lot about not taking possessions off. How do you feel the team has responded in the last 4 games, particularly with that attitude?
Yeah, I think the good thing in the last stretch of games is that we've been rewarded for our efforts. I think sometimes it's a little bit more challenging if you're making those efforts, but maybe you're not coming up with the rebound if you make a run at the glass, or you're in rotation and they happen to hit a tough shot, and the last stretch of games, I mean, our efforts have been rewarded, and we've been able to turn a lot of those into points going the other direction. So sometimes the momentum of that can snowball a little bit, and so far so good.
One of the things I want to bring up to you, it's he's been a huge part, and he's a big part of your core. That's Jeremiah Tillman Jr. But it seems like game after game, the fouls add up pretty quickly, and it makes it a little bit, I'm sure it adds a challenge in terms of you'd want him on the floor, but you got to keep him for key times. What's been the challenge with him of just being able to, not being able to stay away from the fouls and see them getting up to 3 and 4 in the games?
I mean, I think the challenge for him is that he doesn't want to give up anything easy, and he knows that we're asking him to anchor the defense from the back end, and he takes a big amount of pride in terms of doing that job for us. And he's been in some situations where maybe he could allow an easy basket early in the game, and he's just not willing to do that. And I think some of that shows his sacrifice, where he knows that if he can establish the physicality on the interior that we want, sometimes it means he ends up on the bench. But he's done his job in terms of establishing, the way that we want to play, and that we don't want to give up anything easy. I think obviously it's a work in progress where we'd like him to be able to, stay on the floor for more extended stretches. But, I think it is a testament to his selflessness, where he's not thinking about his own minutes and his points and his ability to stay in the game. And he's really just focused on helping the team at the defensive end of the floor. And we obviously count on him to sort of clean up a lot of our mistakes, and unfortunately, sometimes his fouls are the product of maybe a guy getting beat off the dribble, or maybe we gambled and we missed, and he is at the rim trying to clean up those mistakes. So I wouldn't say that his fouls are directly all related to him. I mean, I think we have to take a team look at those situations and say, we can do a better collective effort of trying to keep him out of some of those situations. But I think Jeremiah's done a great job of establishing a defense-first mentality for our group.
Recently, target score time has been quick work for you guys. Today it took a little bit longer. It seemed there were a few times where some possessions might have been a little bit forced, and Edmonton was able to create some turnovers. Was there anything that you saw in there that was a level of frustration, or is it just kind of we've got a big lead and we just got the win, that's all that matters?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't as smooth as we would have liked. I think we'll definitely sit down and we'll look at that as a group on film. And I thought after the timeout we talked about the fact that, hey, we're going to miss some shots, but let's continue to have effort on the offensive glass. And we kept a few plays alive. And you're not going to make every shot, but we want to still be in motion and get into our next position for floor balance and try to offensive rebound a couple of those. And we sort of got away from some of those things, thinking, that this shot's going to go in and this game's going to be done. And we have to definitely use that experience to learn about how to execute at the end of games.
It's a while away, but Saturday, a week from today, you're in Vancouver, but you've got a week in between. What's important for the guys? I know, you're still working on Xavier Moon, and Acott's been, I know he's close, but what's going to be important for not only the guys that are trying to get into the lineup or come back into the lineup, but the guys that have played throughout this stretch? What's the emphasis this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously there's going to be a combination of things. It'd be great if we can, add a couple of those guys that you mentioned into the lineup. I think one thing that goes unreported a little bit is the wear and tear that is on the guys' bodies that are playing, whether it's maybe a smaller amount of minutes or just the actual fatigue that builds up after 12 games and the travel. I mean, we've had a bulk of time where we're not getting a whole bunch of rest. I think we've only had one true day off since we started training camp. So a testament to the guys really taking care of their bodies and committing to the efforts that we're asking to, push us to the highest level that we're capable of. So I think everybody's a little bit beat up and fatigued. I can certainly say that I'm a little bit tired too. I'm looking forward to having a little bit of a break and some time to sort of recoup. But then we're going to have to get back to business and practice, and we do have a lot of things that we can continue to get better at, and the guys have done a tremendous job of buying into that day in and day out.
Coach, Trey McGowan's was huge for you guys tonight. 2 rebounds, shy of a triple-double. It just kind of feels like he's done so many of the little things for you guys this year. How huge has he been?
Yeah, he's great. I mean, I think we're asking him to take on a pretty tall task at the defensive end of the floor first. We're asking him to facilitate offense, find other people, create offense for himself. I think, he joined our group a little bit later, and he's done a really good job of amalgamating himself into the role that we ask. I mean, sometimes we play him on the ball or off the ball, and I mean, he's an extremely competitive guy. And he goes out there and he's got a determination to get the job done that's been really, really effective for us.
And with so many former Stingers on your team, obviously this is the team that you guys have played earlier this year, and there's a lot of change from previous seasons. But do you lean on those guys a little bit more going into games like this?
Do we lean on the former Edmonton guys? Is that the question? I mean, they got a couple of former Sea Bear guys over there we were worried about too. So I think for us, we were really just concentrating on the details that we can control. I certainly know I wasn't really interested in any of the outside narratives other than, what we can control possession by possession. I thought the guys did a good job of being ready to play, and, we're happy to be successful today.
Another huge night for Isaiah Osborne. He started every game for you guys so far since coming back, since joining up with the team. What went into just you having so much trust in him right off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke earlier about our maturity as a group, and he's a guy that has played a lot of high-level basketball. He's a super high IQ player. His ability to guard at, basically 1 through 3 or 4 and be involved in switching. He rebounds well for his position. He's a great off-ball defender. He makes everybody else a little bit better by using his voice. And he's committed to doing the little things that help us win games. So his overall maturity of his game, I mean, obviously he can stand still and knock it in, but he can also, use the dribble. He got to the basket a few times tonight. He can shoot off the dribble in the mid-range game. Like, he really has a multitude of things that he can contribute to any given game based on what the other team is throwing at us. And, we just have so much trust in his ability to be in the right place at the right time and make the right play.
35 points from your bench today. I'm curious, kind of what goes into your thinking with rotations. Like, are you thinking a little bit of like, okay, I should probably get this guy out a little bit more, or is it just all down to the context of the game?
Yeah, I would say a little bit more about what the game is presenting to us in terms of the challenges. I mean, I think that's one thing that we talked about at halftime today that was, on the list of positives for us, is that, we had some guys get in foul trouble, and we had an opportunity to give them a little bit of rest because the guys that came in on the bench, actually built the lead and continued to push the game in the direction that we wanted to. And that's a real luxury as a coach to have the depth that we do. I mean, we know that we have a lot of guys that are sacrificing to be a part of winning, and we appreciate that. But we also know that means on any given night we can throw one of those guys in the game, and we're not surprised when good things happen.